Hey everyone, Sean O'Connor here from Macabre Daily, specifically the Paper Cuts column. And boy, oh boy, do we have an absolute knockout here today. We've got none other than Bill Wood, who just wrote the incredible YA novel Let's Split Up. By the way, Bill, love the title. Perfect title.
Thank
'Cause
you.
you look at it and you're like, well, that's a horrible, horrible idea.
Exactly.
I have so many questions. I want to start. We're gonna start all the way from the beginning before we even get to the novel and you writing it and then the plans for it in the future. But I have to start because I'm so curious. This is such a perfect mashup of horror and mystery. Were you always into that growing up, or did you come upon that, just at being curious and checking everything out?
I mean, I got into horror, I guess, quite early. My aunt w is big into horror, so she showed me Jaws probably a little bit too younger than I was supposed to, and that kind of got me into it. But then I was a huge Scooby-Doo kid as a kid, and that's obviously comes off in the book too. And I keep saying that like Scooby-Doo is kind of like a gateway to horror for a lot of people. It
It
has all of those
is.
elements, just like a bit toned down, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It really is gateway horror. It's super safe, it's colorful, it's playful, but it introduces you to elements like the Carrington Ghoul. You
Hmm.
know, it introduces you to elements of pirate ship mystery and haunted caves and stuff like that. And, it's kind of up to it's up to the individual from that point whether or not they want to pursue it. But that's how I got into it as well. It was just all those cartoons and your curiosity's piqued and you just kind of start looking for what else is out there. And sometimes it's good and sometimes you read a
Yeah.
lot of garbage.
Yes. For
All right, I
sure.
have to ask, and this isn't a competition, Bill, but what age were you when you saw Jaws?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. It was definitely really young. I still do spend a lot of time with my aunt, and she had like huge DVD collection. So I was definitely in the single digits, maybe around six, seven, probably. Yeah.
All right, we might be tied. My parents took me to Jaws in the theater when I was 6.
Oof.
And I like to think that there is a multiverse version of me that is still in that chair screaming for infinity and
Yeah.
it'll never end. I mean,
Hmm.
it was like my soul left my body when Ben Gardner's head came out of the hole in the boat.
Hmm.
It, I immediately go back there in my mind, but that's what started that wow, that was a feeling. How can I get that again?
For sure. Yeah.
And here I am decades later. We don't have to get into it. I don't have to tell you how old I am, Bill. It's too personal. All right, I've got some questions here. First question, of course, is how the heck did you kind of, evolve into this massively successful book talker?
Oof. I mean, it kind of happened by accident, honestly, which sounds so silly, but it was during like COVID. It was 2021, so we were still going through some of the bits and bobs of it, and I'd gotten back into reading again, like I feel like a lot of people did during lockdown, and I was just had no one to talk about it. Like I don't have too many people around me who read. My family do, but they're completely different books to what I read. So it was just me like talking about the books I was reading at first, and then it kind of transitioned into some writing stuff later on. But yeah, I think I was just having fun with it to start with. I was posting multiple times a day, just because I had so much to say. It was like finally had like this platform to talk about reading, and
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of spiraled from there.
I'm glad that you said you were having fun with it because if you go on to if you follow Bill and everyone should, everyone actually I take that back, everyone must. The sense of fun and playfulness that you're having, it is infectious and
Oh,
it's instantly gratifying. So job well done. I thought you could
thank
kind
you.
of tell me your secret sauce so I could duplicate it and rule the world, but
I literally just don't take it seriously. I think as an author, you could be a little bit more serious, and maybe I should sometimes. But I post it, and well, I film a video and post it right away. I don't know. I feel like it just feels a bit more. natural. Well, it is more natural that way, and I think that's it. Just it's just me in a video form, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, but yeah, no, don't change a thing and don't become more serious. No, you're now, you're an author, and I suppose, when we put that moniker on anyone, it comes with like that gravitas of like, now I'm an author. But then
Hmm.
you take a beat and you're just like, well, I'm actually the same person I was a moment ago before they called me that.
Exactly.
But let's talk about you evolving into what is going to be a massively successful author. And I already feel like, I know the plans that Scholastic has for the novel, and I'm super excited about it. I don't want to get over my skis, Bill. Can we talk a little bit about that, or should I keep it mum's the word?
Yeah, yeah. Let's go for it.
So we're going to, I mean, Let's Split Up is going to become a series produced by
Yeah.
Scholastic.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's beyond wild in the best way possible for you. I'm so excited. Every single page that I was turning as I was racing through the novel, I was like, this would make a fantastic movie. This would make a fantastic TV show. Your background as a screenwriter is perfect for the genre that you're writing in, and your style and the story you tell and your characters. Your characters are deep, they're not surface level. Again, I'm all over the place, but you can tell that in the very beginning with Brad and Shelley. And I'm not spoiling anything for the viewer or listener. It's essentially a cold open that sets up a little bit of the mythology around Carrington House, and Brad and Shelley get murdered.
Hmm.
But you learn so much about the two of them within 10 pages that I could have followed a novel about Brad and Shelley. You know,
Yeah.
you do such a fantastic job, really creating these worlds, and your characters have depth to them. No one is tuning in to hear me talk, so let me stop sucking all the oxygen out of the room. Tell me about your transition from what you were doing on Book Talk and your background as a screenwriter, and how that progressed into your new career, essentially as an author.
I mean, it's been a really strange journey. I mean, I first started Let's Split Up in June 2021, so it was literally the same month I started Book Talk in general.
Wow.
But at first, it was just me book reviewing stuff. It wasn't me talking about my writing.
Okay.
And at the time, I was finishing up my first year of university, doing my screenwriting stuff, and I'd rewatched the live action Scooby-Doo movie with my little brother. And I just remember f finishing the film and just like, oh, I wish there was something like exactly this, but just a little bit darker, like for an older audience. And that's kind of when I first started writing the book. Um, and it got to a point where that night I started writing the book, and that was the prologue I wrote that night. And the prologue is like the one thing that hasn't changed throughout any of the edits. When it got to a publisher, agents, all of it, it barely ever changed. Um, I'm just like a huge fan of cold opens, but that's beside the point. Um,
You're
and
just so
then
good.
and by the end of like 2021, I'm in my second year of university. I'm doing all the horror modules I could because I wanted to make this book as best as I could. And I finished the draft probably the end of that year, and it didn't feel right. So I ended up self-publishing for a bit, doing like some fantasy stuff because that's another huge love of mine. Um, and then I didn't go back to Let's Split Up until probably 2023 time. And I rewrote that book probably 4 or 5 times. Because I think I just had the vision for what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to kind of be a satirical take almost on those 90s, 2000s horror movies. And I just couldn't get that tone right. But then, yeah, 2020, yeah, the end of 2023, I managed to do that. I graduated that same year, and yeah, the rest is history.
Unbelievable. What a ride you're having. Oh, I'm thrilled for you. A little sad for
Thank you.
myself, decades ahead of you, and I feel like I've accomplished nothing. But this isn't about me, Bill. We won't make it about me. You have this perfect setup with this Scooby-Doo meets Scream mashup, if you don't mind
Mhm.
me calling it that. It,
Yeah, I do all the time. Yeah.
that's how it feels. Those two those two elements are very prevalent in the novel, but what else did you draw from? What other inspirations, horror or mystery, influenced you in writing the novel?
I mean, as you said, those two are like the huge ones that I was referring to it. And then when Scholastic took it on the UK, I was like, this is the vibe, and they kind of went with it. There's definitely elements of Pretty Little Liars in there. I think whenever you have a small town friend group thing, it's gonna come up. But also just like I feel like your Nancy Drews, the Famous Five, any of that like teen mystery, it definitely feels like it. But then, I mean, I think because it's such a core group of friends, I grew up with so. I feel like you'd think back to all like the TV shows and films you watch that are for like a family audience. Everything has a core group of friends at the center of it. Like even Power Rangers, I feel like without a group of friends, there's nothing there. And yeah, this I don't know. It's just some like light-hearted stuff, which sounds strange for a horror novel, but yeah, that that's Let's Burp in a nutshell, I think.
You bring up something interesting. It is that friendship aspect of it because especially at that age in high school, those friends mean the world to you. Not that you
Yes.
don't love your family, but those friends are the ones that you could kill or die for, theoretically. But they're so important to you, and that immediately is just such great ground, for the drama and the stakes of it all.
Hmm.
This is a YA novel, and it's funny, Bill, because I've been having interesting conversations with authors who write YA and write adult fiction.
Yes.
And there's something happening right now where we're almost transitioning out of YA. I hate to do silly air quotes, but so much YA fiction is being read by adults.
Hmm.
This novel is immediately accessible to a young audience. The way you write, your style, you don't go heavy on the gore, but they're thrills and they're scares. There's an incredible sense of mystery. We get into Carrington House, and it's like every other door unlocks another twist and turn. It's fantastic. It's incredibly accessible to adults as well, though.
Hmm.
So I want to call this a YA novel because it is, but I want everybody seeing this right now to know anyone can read this. You could
Hmm.
pick it up and immediately be entertained and enthralled with the story. So my question to you, and I promise there's a question in here, is when you're actually in the act of writing it, and that you do want adults to read the novel, but you have to, you have a specific target audience you're writing for.
Hmm.
How do you gauge yourself on a daily basis of this is too much or this is too little? How challenging is that?
It is a challenge. I think it's weird because the whole it kind of hitting so many different age groups was I feel like just my subconscious, like me with like my screenwriter brain trying to make something, I guess, marketable without even really thinking about it. Because if you think the Scooby-Doo, so many generations have grown up with a different iteration of that show, so everyone kind of knows what it is. Even with like Scream, obviously late 90s it came out, but there was like a whole resurgence of like younger kids watching it because of lockdown and everyone getting into stuff, even like Buffy. So I feel like that is kind of why it kind of works for so many people because it's the brands that we're using as comps are just so recognizable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a struggle trying to work out how far to go with the horror because yes, YA novel. And for me, I think with as you were saying, YA is it's feeling more older as like in the past couple of years, it feels like a lot of YA novels are kind of adult novels just with younger characters,
Yeah.
whether that's the prose or the gore or any of them in between. But yeah, it was definitely on my mind to try and tone it down because I did want it to make it accessible. And you think a lot of like the teen horror movies from the 90s, they weren't super crazy. Like even Scream, like it's an 18 in the UK, but I've watched it recently and I was like, I really don't see why. But yeah, but it's strange because then I go to my publisher when I'm writing the sequel and they're like, yeah, let's make it darker. I was like, you're a
Push
kids
it.
publisher. Do,
Push
do
it.
you
Yeah.
remember? But yeah, it's been really fun. It's just been like a fun balancing act, and we definitely taken. You know what? I don't think I ever took. I don't think I've ever taken anything out because it was too gory. I've definitely added stuff though.
Okay.
So I think
Interesting.
that maybe shows like my reluctance to do too much at first. Yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah, you're not going to, no one's going to be going to have the covers over their head, but they'll get up to the nose. You know, they'll go that
I
far,
like
that's
that.
for sure. I really did enjoy the beats that you have, and I could see your screenwriting background. You create really engaging set pieces. This is where I get in trouble because I don't ever want to give a spoiler away. We want everyone to buy this novel. We're not going to give anything away, but I will just say that there are such great set pieces, and you really take I know it's such a cliche, but you do take the reader on a journey, and there are these high highs, no lows, high. And then when you think, okay, we're going to get a lull, you're like, nope, we're going one octave higher. You know, I just really enjoyed the whole central core mystery to it. You had me at hello just because I'm a massive Scooby-Doo fan and this resonated with me. But let's get into a couple of things about the novel itself. Okay.
Yes.
So we have Cam and Jonesy and Amber, and then new addition Buffy. By the way, once
Mhm.
I read that, I was like, Bill, you're taking the piss. And I enjoyed it
Sold.
so much. You got this core four, and essentially what we have is we have a brutal murder at the beginning of the novel in the prologue. By the way, Bill, I'm going to feel so silly if this is glaring. Am I missing something with the names Brad and Shelley? Is that an Easter egg, or you just picked those names?
They just felt very 90s stereotypical teen names to me.
I was racking my brain going, what horror movie have I seen with Brad and Shelley? Okay, good. Now I know at least I didn't miss anything. Immediately you set up the central, mystery of Carrington House. There's
Yes.
something in there. The Carrington Ghoul is not done with Sonora. Oh, by the way, what is that town based on?
It was kind of just like my take on like I feel like most teen horror movies are set in a small town. So it's kind of like Woodsboro mixed with like the Coolsville of Scooby-Doo, just like a mishmash of everything, really.
We have our core four. Kids start dying, and our core four take it upon themselves, like all good teens do. The authorities are doing nothing. The parents are useless, as they are always, lovable but useless. And they take it upon themselves to solve the mystery of the Carrington Ghoul. And through that, you have more twists and turn. I almost got whiplash. You keep the reader. As readers, we tend to think that we're more clever than the author. We'll
Yes.
cop to it. We'll cop to it. And we think that we're ahead of you. And what you do throughout the entire novel is keep putting us back on our heels. And I love that. You,
Oh, thank you.
you nailed it. Don't get too clever, Sean. You don't know. You actually don't know what's going on. Okay. So, I again, no spoilers. Let's let everybody go out and enjoy the mystery that is Let's Split Up. And trust me when I say they do split up. And when it happened, I was like, I knew it was happening because of the title, but I was like, what are you doing? This is the worst idea.
Yeah, I do want to say though, because Let's Put Up the Name came before I even wrote the book, I was like, I'm calling it this. It just felt so striking to me. It just felt like a good book title. But when I was setting out to write it, I was like, I want to make sure there's a reason like why they are splitting up, and it doesn't feel like they've got no other opportunities. So I hope that came across.
It makes perfect sense, and they actually have to do it. It's completely logical. But as a horror fan, and knowing that it was the title of the book, I knew it was coming. But I was like, oh no, no, what's gonna happen? Because at this point, you're so involved in the stakes of the four characters. You care for them. You don't want anything bad to happen to them.
Mhm.
That is the mark of a good author when you care for
Oh,
your
thank
character.
you.
So you did it. All right. Let's talk about plans for the future. I know we have the sequel coming up in 2026,
Yes.
and that is called.
Be right back. So that's out in the UK in October, but then it will be out in the US in March, so you guys don't have to wait as long.
That's good news.
Mhm.
Excellent. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Do you mind talking to us about the launch of Let's Split Up? What are the plans in the UK? What are the plans in the US?
Yeah, so Let's Split Up in the US is I mean it's been out in the UK now for nearly a year, which is still crazy to think. But yeah, it's coming to the US September 2nd, so in a week and a day from when we're recording this, which is really scary. It's very exciting. We've got if you guys are into like the sprayed edges of it all, we've got a really cool edition with like some bloody footprints and everything on the side, which is limited to the first print run. So if you're into that, that's available at any retailer.
Perfect. Also, I can't believe I went right over this. I want to talk about the queer romance in the novel as well. I think
Hmm.
it's fantastic. I love the representation. I came up in the 80s. This is Bill, this is where you're supposed to say that's impossible, Sean. You couldn't
What?
couldn't possibly be that old. I came up in the 80s and there wasn't a lot of diversity.
Hmm.
There was good horror written then, some classics, but there weren't voices given to a slew of different people and different
Hmm.
cultures and different sexualities, all of that. Now you are part of what is such a fantastic moment in horror, where there are diverse voices and there's inclusivity, and no matter who you are, you can find a piece of literature that speaks to you. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to let you know I loved the romance and how it evolves in the novel. I thought it was sweet and endearing, and it was one of my favorite parts.
Thank you. Yeah, that was just one thing. I just wanted to make something that felt, I don't know, just real. I don't. I think a lot of the times, especially with queer representation, it's getting better, and it has in the past 5, 10 years. But a lot of the queer representation that I had when I was a teenager was a lot of just like sad stuff. And I wanted to make something that it just felt natural. It's not even like a really core part of the book. It's just there. It's not questioned, and yeah, I want more of that
Well, it's also like, every good screenplay, we want to have a love interest element to it. It doesn't have to be the central theme to it, but everyone's looking for it and looking forward to it, and that's what
for
you do in
sure.
this novel, and it just makes it richer, makes it for a richer reading experience and more fun. Bill, this was so much fun talking to you. I'll give one spoiler is that I think I already told you is that you're going to get a fantastic review from Macabre Daily.
Thank you.
Going to be telling all the YA readers to pick it up. Going to be telling all the adult readers to pick it up. This is, and I hope you don't mind me saying this. I don't think you will, but it is a cinematic mystery horror adventure, and at this. There's so much good stuff out right now, but this is kind of unlike anything that is
Oh,
at the moment. It's perfect.
thank you so much. I like that cinematic horror adventure. I'll use that.
Please do. It's my gift to you. It's fantastic. Please, would you promise me that you're going to come back and we'll talk about the sequel?
For sure, it's not very far away.
No, and I'd also love to talk to you about the series when it launches as well. Will you come back?
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here today, Bill. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. It's an open door policy for you, sir. Take
Thank
care.
you.